Okay, then. Hello, everyone. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Nanda, Akhilesh, Sham, Akib. Good evening, guys. How are you all? Am I audible, everyone? Good evening, Drex. How are you, buddy? Hello, everyone. Good evening, guys. Can you please confirm? Am I audible? Am I visible? Okay, that's great. That is really great. Okay. So first of all, guys, I would like to welcome you all to, I think today's day 5, right? Maybe? Yeah. Day 5 or day 6? I think it's day 6. Okay, see, we keep forgetting. We are learning so many things that we always forget on which day we are. But again, that doesn't matter. What matters is what we are learning and how much we are progressing in that. So we have progressed a lot so far because today we are going to be starting with something called as Express, which is one of the most used, one of the most important libraries to learn if you want to become an API developer and if you want to develop it using JavaScript. So guys, so far we have learned so many things. So far we have learned what exactly is an API, right? How to connect our program to a real-time database. We also saw how to create our own API from scratch. And the reason we built it from scratch was to understand everything, what exactly goes on inside an API, how the request comes, how to read it, how to send a proper response, how to convert things to JSON and back to object. Now guys, today we'll basically culminate all the things that we have learned so far, the basic API, connection to database, handling requests, sending responses, and we'll combine those all together with this amazing library called as an Express, and we'll be using this to create a really functional API which will be connected to a real-time database. Because in the last API, while we were learning, we actually used a file system as our database. So now today we'll be using a real database as our database system where we'll be storing data and fetching data from. And we'll be having a really cool API with an amazing looking code. Okay, and everything that we have learned so far will help us in understanding how to build API using this Express. So guys, I really hope that you all are excited. So please let me know that in the chat. And also please don't forget to like this session. And if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. That means a lot to me. So guys, without using any more time, because we have a lot of things to do, let's go and let's get started with something called as Express. Okay, so let's start by understanding what exactly is Express. Okay, so see guys, first of all, simply speaking, Express is simply you can say, something like a library or a module. Simply, Express is a library or a module which is built using JavaScript only. Okay, just like we have HTTP module, just like we have FS module, right? Those are nothing but collections of inbuilt functions. I think we have discussed this, what exactly is a module, right? They are nothing but collection of functionalities which is written by someone else. We can import it and use it. So we have seen how to use FS. We have seen how to use, URL module. We have seen how to use HTTP module. Now those were all inbuilt modules. So I think in the last session, we also learned how to use a third-party module like Mongoose. So we also installed that, and it gave us a lot of functions which really helped us to connect to database and work with it. Now today, we are going to be using a new library called as Express, which is nothing but a collection of functions, and we'll be using that functions, and those functions will simply help us to create APIs in a much more simpler way. Okay, they will help us to create endpoints. Express libraries functions will help us to handle requests. Express libraries functions will also help us to send responses in a much more cleaner and simpler way. Okay, so far, last time I think we sir, can we say collection in MongoDB is like a table? Yes, Sahil, yes. Collection in MongoDB is exactly like a table. Yes, it is exactly like a table. Okay, yeah, it is the exact relation. Yeah, you can say that. So guys, Express is nothing but a library or module. Okay, it is simply a, you can say, collection of functions which will help you to create API endpoints in a much simpler way. That's all. That's it, guys. That's what Express is. But how important it is to know that, understand this, that you might have heard of this, right? That we want a MERN developer. I'm a MERN developer. I'm a MERN stack developer. So in that MERN, that E stands for Express. So guys, Express is not a different technology. Express is not a language. Express is not a, framework. It's a very simple library. but it is so famous, it is so widely used that its name has been included in the stack. So in this MERN, M stands for MongoDB, which we have already learned. E stands for Express. R stands for React, which we'll be learning, and N stands for Node.js, which we are already learning. But see, Node.js is a separate thing. It's a runtime. It's a very big thing. React is a separate framework, separate library, which helps to develop front end. MongoDB is a database system. Express is just a small library. But because you can see it is in the name, that's how big impact it is having. So there are so many libraries, not only Express, there are some more libraries which also help you to create APIs in a much more better way. But Express is very widely used and one of the most famous libraries in the world right now. Okay, that's why it's there in the name. In this MERN, E stands for Express. That's how impactful it is. And today, we'll be learning how to install it and how to use it. So guys, let's go and let's start. Now see, before we move ahead, guys, now we have already learned API. We know that coding-wise or practically, API is nothing but collection of functionalities, and every functionality is doing some kind of stuff. That's what we have learned, right? If I open the old project, let me show you again, just to get a quick revision. So let's go ahead and let's open our folder. I think it is this one. Yes, API fundamentals. Okay. So now, guys, if you remember, we created this API, I think 2 days back, maybe. Okay. So let me just. Now here, guys, what we did, we had only one function. Okay. So we used the HTTP module, and we created a server using it, right? This functionality acts as a server. It keeps our application continuously online, and it is open for handling requests and sending responses. Now we know whatever request comes, it comes in this object, right? Now we understood that based on different URLs, we can do different things, but we didn't have separate functionalities for them. So what we did, we used if and else. So if whatever request is coming, if the request method is options, do this. Whatever request is coming, if the method is get, and if the path of the request is this, then perform this operation. If the path is if the method is post and the path is this, perform this. So we used if and else. What we did, guys, we didn't create separate functions. We used if and else to bifurcate which kind of request is coming and on which path that particular request is coming and what response to send. And that's fine. It's not a bad API. It's a really good code. It's okay. It's good. But Express as a library, it is built on top of HTTP module. That means Express internally is using this only. Internally, it is using this core HTTP module. But on the top, it gives us really simple and cool functions which we can use to create our APIs in around 50% less code than this. That means a lot of the job will be done by Express. We'll be doing some simple things on the top. A lot of the job will be done by Express itself. So we don't have to, read all this complete variables to read the path name, or we don't have to check the methods like this. We don't have to do all that stuff. Here we did everything. We checked the path, right? If we wanted to extract the data. Now guys, remember, if we wanted to extract the data from the URL, how much task we did? Let's see where it was. Yep, see. Okay, wait, where did I do it? I think wait. Yep. So to read the data coming in the URL, we used to parse the URL. And after parsing the URL, we used to access the query to extract our data. That was one stuff. Again, if some data is coming in request body, what we used to do, guys? We used to handle two events: on data, receive data chunk by chunk, okay, and then call one more event where the stream ends, and then again collect the data, then transform the data into JavaScript object. So we had to do so many things, right, everyone? It's not bad, it's good. But Express will remove all these things. Express will make creation of APIs, handling the request, and sending the response very simple. You can't even think of how simple I'm talking. Wait until you see that. But I hope, guys, you will never forget this. Even if you're learning Express, please don't forget what we have learned here. Okay, because this will always help you, even though there is no Express or if you go in some other language. But let's go and let's do it now. Good evening, Subhashini. Good evening, Aniket. Why when you connect the mongoose, the terminal did not kill after the query will run? Because we have started this program, right? That is why. Right? Sarma. Which one are you talking about? In the last one? No, no, Subhashin, you have not missed anything. We have just started. We were just discussing what exactly Express is. So guys, are we ready? Can we move ahead then? Can we move ahead? I hope you remember the old API. I hope you remember how much hard work we did there. So now let's go and let's do the easy work now by using the Express library, and let's make the API. Okay. So let's go. Okay. But keep this in mind, guys. So I'll keep this side by side so that we can always compare what's going on. Okay. So let me open a new window and let's create a new folder quickly. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my project, and here I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll call it as API-Express, something like that. Okay, because we're using Express in this. And let's open this folder here. Cool. And again, guys, as I always say, from now on, whenever you're making a JS project, you have to do some basic stuff. That is always the first thing that you should do is perform a npm init. Okay. So npm init, it will start the project. It will ask you for a few details. So let's fill it. So yeah, package name is fine. My project name will be API Express. That's good. Version, fine, 1.0.0. Description, as of now, let's just say basic Express API. Entry point, yes, I want it to be index.js. Test command, no test commands, no repository as of now. Keywords, nothing. Author, I'll put my name. In here, you can put your name while you're creating the project. Okay. And license, that's fine. Yes, okay. And now, guys, we simply have a package.json. Very good. Now, see, guys, today we are also going to perform database connection. And we know to perform database connection, we're going to be using the Mongoose package or the Mongoose library. So let's quickly go ahead and let's install it. So for that, guys, npm install Mongoose. Let's install this one. And almost done. Yep, done. It is installed. You can see the node model folder is here in which the Mongoose library is setting up. And we also have the package.log where all the details about the libraries that we are using is there. I think last time we have this, right, everyone? Last time we learned all this. What exactly is npm? What exactly is Mongoose? What exactly is package.log? So I hope no one is confused. If anyone is new here and they are confused, remember, guys, this is the 5th day or the 6th day of this whole course. So please also watch the previous videos as well. Okay, now, guys, today we are installing one more library which is called as Express. So let's go with the same process, npm install Express, and here we go. And yep, done. And we only need these two libraries as of now. So guys, now the Express is also installed. You can see here Express version 4.18.2, Mongoose version 8.0.2 is installed, and that's cool. Enough to start with everything. So now, guys, let's quickly go ahead and let's create a very simple file in which we'll write our code, which I'm going to name it as index.js. Okay. So, guys, today to create our API, we won't be using HTTP module because Express is internally using it. We'll be simply using our Express module. Okay. So let's quickly go ahead and require Express. Again, guys, as the base logic, you can name this variable anything you want, but let's just keep it. Sir, what is the difference between REST API and GraphQL API? I'll explain what a REST API is today only because what we are creating is a REST API. GraphQL is a different kind of database API. So there, don't worry. At the end, when you understand this whole API, then I'll explain you what exactly is the meaning of REST, and then I'll explain you what exactly is the meaning of GraphQL. GraphQL is more like a customized data fetching API where you can mention, I only want this data. So don't worry, in some time you'll understand that. Once I complete this API, once I make you understand what exactly REST means, then it will be easier for you to understand GraphQL. But yeah, difference is there. GraphQL is more like you can specify what custom fields you want in your response. Okay, so don't worry. Once you understand this, that will be much more easier to understand. So guys, we have required or imported Express. Now guys, let's compare this project, okay, that we have already created, and understand everything what we have did here. So the first thing that we did here was we created a server which will start accepting requests and start sending response. So the first thing that we did was created a server. Same thing we also have to do here. We have to create a server so that our program can handle the incoming request. But here, server creation is not tough. The first thing that you have to always do is create an object of this Express. So for that, you can just do const app. Again, guys, this variable can be called anything, but technically all over the world they use the name app. So you can also use the name app because this is your application. That's why app. But again, guys, it can be Akhilesh, it can be Saurabh, whatever name you want to give to that variable. But we'll follow that logic. We'll use app and create the express object. And that's it. You have created your express object. Now this app object, which is your express object, it is going to be the most important object. It will do everything for you. Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's create a server. Now remember, guys, in here, to create a server, we used a function called as create server. And then at the end, we also mentioned in that server only that you have to listen on port number 8000. Here we don't have to do that much thing. Here we simply have to call app.listen. This function, this express function .listen, will directly create a server internally. So we don't have to worry about create server, request response, all that. Leave that. Just app.listen. And inside this, you can pass two parameters. First is the port number. So I'm passing 8000 as my port number on which I want my server to run. Second, you can also pass an optional callback function. This callback function is called if your app has started running, if your server is online and the server has started running. So you can, just have a testing message like server up and running. Server up and running. So if the server is started and it is running, this particular function will be called and you'll be getting this output. And I don't know why I'm making so much spelling mistakes, but that's fine. So guys, done. You are done with installing Express, importing it, and you have also created a basic server in just 3 lines of code, 3 to 4 lines of code. Let's check it out. Let's run it. Again, guys, you can run it via Node. You can also run it via NodeMon. We want this app to run again and again whenever I make changes. So NodeMon. So let's go. NodeMon index.js. And here we go. See, guys, you got the message. Server up and running. That means now your Node.js server or your API server is online and it's ready to handle request. Now, guys, remember, in the old way, what we did, we had to do everything inside the create server function. So create server function was having a callback function, right? And that was the only callback function, or that was the only function which will be called whenever a request comes. That's why we had to handle everything inside, because this create server's callback function was the only function which was having the request object, right? And we know that whatever request is coming from some front end or from some client will come in this request object only. So that's why we had to do everything inside the callback function by using if and else. But Express says no. I am not going to use that dirty way or that complicated way of creating apps. No. You are free to create your endpoints anywhere you want. Just make sure that you have the app object and just make sure that your server is up and running by these 2 lines. Now you're free to create your endpoints normally. Okay. Now see, guys, here, when we wanted to create the endpoint in here, what we did, we handled it like this. If the method is options, or if the path is this one and method is get, right? Or if the request method is post and path is products. Here you don't have to do anything like this. Here it is this simple. You'll use the app object and it gives you functions like this, get. App.get means this function by default knows that I have to handle get request. So whatever get request comes will come here. And secondly, its first parameter is the path. So you can also pass like this, /products. So now this means, this is like if the request that is coming, if its method is get, and if the path is /products, this particular functionality will be called. So it is exactly similar to this. If request.method is equal to get and url.pathname is equal to /products. You can simply think of this as equivalent to this. So in HTTP module, we did this. If the request method is get and if the URL path name is /products, do whatever you want here. In this case, you just have to mention app.get. If a request is get and path is this, then here you have a callback function, inside which you have the request and response object available for your use case. And then you can handle the endpoint or whatever you want to do for that particular request inside this. So let me show you. Let's just do a console.log. get request incoming. And let's also send a response. So now guys, remember, in HTTP module, when we wanted to send a response, we use this object only, response. But we used to use a function called as end, right? And that end function was unable to send a JavaScript object as JSON data. So we had to convert our JS object. Here, you can now use a function called as send, in which you don't have to do anything like stringify or something like that. You can directly pass your JS object like this. And internally, it will convert it to JSON string. That means we don't have to worry about anything now. We don't have to worry about conversion of JS object to JSON string or all. No issues in that. Simply send your JS object. Like, something like get request success. And guys, that's how you create an endpoint. No if, no else, no complicated code. Very simple. App.get. That means whenever the request is get and the path is this. Okay. Now, whatever is coming in the request. Now, I hope you remember, right? Things that come in request. The URL, the path, right? The base address, the data, everything. Even the URL parameters will be available in this request object. Everything coming in the request will be available in the request object. And you can use the response object to send back anything you want. And that's how things work now. Let me show you. Let's save it. And let's open our Thunder client. Okay, quickly. And let's create a new request. Guys, I hope you're understanding everything here. No complication. A very simple replacement of your if and else, right? So let's send a request now. Let's send a request. It's a get / products. Let's go ahead. So http :/ localhost, because it's your local server, our port number is 8000 / path is going to be products. And it's a get request. No headers, no parameters, remove all that stuff. No issues. Just a simple request. Send. And see guys, you got your response back. And also in your console, you got the message printed. See that? That's how simple it was. See, that's how simple it was to handle a very simple GET request. Let me also show you this now. Now guys, in there, how did we read the data coming in the URL? We had to send our data like this, right? $ID = 3, something like this. A old-fashioned URL. $ID = 3. And then in our API, we had to parse that URL, right? Yes, Akhilesh, don't worry. In some time, I'll be using Postman. This is just to show the example. I'll also be introducing Postman to everyone here. Don't worry. So now guys, see, in the older way, we used to send our URL like this. $ID = 3. This is the standard way of sending data through URLs. Now, this is not the problem. The problem was, in the API, we had to do things like this, right? Here, we had to parse the URL. Then we had to extract our data from that URL. Correct? I hope you remember all the things that we learned here. Here, you don't have to worry about it. First of all, Express gives you a way by which you can, represent your URL much more neatly. You don't have to use question marks anymore. So what you can do is, see, now if you want to, create an endpoint which can handle data coming through URL, you can create an endpoint like this. Let's say we create a GET request. And let's say we mention /users, just to bifurcate, give it a different name. Now, if you think that I want this endpoint to have a URL parameter, now you will think it here only. In the older version, URL data was sent from front end, and we used to handle it in the API by parsing the URL. Here, as an API developer, it's your responsibility to create such an endpoint which already knows that URL data is going to be coming. So for that, let's say I want in the user's URL, people will be sending ID. So I'll make it like this. User /. Now, if you want the next one to be your variable, you have to use colon and then give whatever name you want. Once you use colon, guys, this is a variable. This is a URL variable which you can use in your API. See guys, if I don't use the colon, this becomes a simple path. It's like user /ID. Let me show you. So guys, this is our second endpoint now. See, that's how simple it is. Don't worry about the URL, but this is our second endpoint. So this is one GET endpoint. So if someone sends a GET request on /products, it will come on this endpoint. If someone sends a GET request on /user/ID, it will come to this. That means every endpoint can be represented separately. This is one endpoint. This is second endpoint. You don't have anything like if, else, all that complicated code anymore. So let me show you. Let's send a response back. Something like user response. Okay. Now if I go there and see, my path is /users/id. So I have to pass /users/id. And see, you got user response as your response. That means this API is working. This endpoint is working. But if I pass 2 here, let's say something like this, 2. Let's say I'm trying to pass some data. See, no response because that endpoint doesn't exist. So this 2 is not going to go in this ID. So to tell Node.js or to tell Express that no, I want this to be a variable. I want this ID to be a variable, because if you mention directly, it is just a normal string. It is part of the URL. It is part of a URL string. So to make sure that Express understands that I want this to be a variable, mention a colon. So now your endpoint can be /users/anything. Like it can be 2. So that 2 will go in this ID. If needed, you can also pass ABC. That ABC will go as a data in this ID. Whatever you pass after /users, that will go as data in this variable. Whatever you want to pass. So let me show you. Console.log. Now to access this ID, you have to again use request object. So you have to use request.params.id. So request.params, that means parameters, request parameters.id. So guys, whatever variable you have here, whatever you have mentioned here, the same name you can use, but it should come via request. So request.params.id. And now let me show you in the console. So if I go here and if I pass 2 now, see that 2 will go in this ID, and then I can access it like this, and now my 2 should be printed. Let's see. Here we go. See that, guys? 2. If I pass ABC, that will also go as my data. See? ABC. Now it can be any data, guys. It's up to you. Hello. Or maybe, you know, my name like Saurabh. So Saurabh will go in that ID variable. Whatever you want, you can pass now. And see, now your URL looks much more better. It's the modern way of representing data. In APIs now, we no longer use question marks. In browsers, it's fine. In browsers, we still use question mark. But in APIs, now we no longer use question marks. Like we avoid it normally. We pass our data in this logic only, so that URL can be secured and no one will know which of this is a data and which of this is a normal string. Getting the point, guys? It's for security. You can think of it like it's for security. Then if you want to give more paths, yeah, you can give that. Why not? See, first of all, you can also have multiple variables. /ID, /name. So now we have 2 variables, :ID, :name. So you can pass 2 things now. Let me show you. Let me print both of them. Request.params.name. Let me show you now. So now I can pass /22/Saurabh. So see, localhost 8000/users. Till here, it is this endpoint. After that, this 22 will go in, sorry, let me open that file quickly. After that, this 22 will go in this ID, and this Saurabh will go in this name. So you can also create 3, 5, 6, 7 variables just like this. It's up to you. Right? So now if you check it, see, you got 22 as well as Saurabh. Is that clear, guys? Everyone? So you can have n number of variables and your URL will not look ugly at all. It will look really good like this. And see, even the Thunder client doesn't know now. See, when you, let me just show you. See, in your Thunder client or in here, when you add a URL like this, see, when you add question mark, ID = 1. See, guys, what happens? Even your Thunder client understands that you're passing a query parameter. So you see, it prints it here when you mention your data like this. But when you mention it like this, even the Thunder client doesn't know that you're passing a URL parameter. But we know it's getting passed. So no one will understand which one is a parameter and which one is a, you know, normal string. No one will know that now. Even the Thunder client is not understanding that. And that's good. Right? Is that clear, guys? That is why we have this new way, which makes our URL look much more cleaner, easier. right? Because passing multiple data in that question mark format is very tough. You have to use question mark ID equals 1 and name equals Saurabh and this and that. Now you no longer have to do it. Slash, 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 just like that. Is it clear, everyone? Guys, hopefully we're understanding everything here. So that's how now you can handle URL parameters. You no longer have to parse the URL. You no longer have to, extract anything from the query. Simple request.params.any variable that you're passing. So guys, we have solved two tough things. Now, so far we can understand that Express has solved two problematic things. One problematic thing was having only one function, and inside that we were writing if else to handle multiple endpoints, right? Here we are handling them like proper separate functions. Separate function, separate function. Code looks much more cleaner. Second problem that it has solved is we don't have to mention request.method equals to get and path name equals to that by parsing the URL. Simple app.get, app.get. Now in future app.post, app.put, and just like that we can move ahead and mention so many things. And thirdly, the problem of the URL parsing and extracting data out of it. But I can still see that method here on YouTube. Which method? See, as I said, in the browsers it's fine. It's a browser request. It's not an API request. Drex. Understand the difference. That's how browsers work. Browsers will mostly work like that. Okay, because browsers are generally not used to call APIs. Browsers simply call your front-end application. Internally, the front-end application calls API. So browsers are built like that. They follow the traditional way. Getting the point, Rex? Browsers are built like that. That's the standard way. Here in the API development logic, we have changed that way to use it in a better way. Because people use these URLs in coding, right? That's why. To make it simpler, to make it cleaner, to make it secured, we have changed this idea. Got it, Drex? So browsers will always use that idea. Okay, cool. Because it's internally built like that. They will always work like that. So guys, are we cleared with everything till now? Now, the biggest problem that we faced here was what, guys? It was when we had a post request. The biggest problem was when we had a post request. At that time, we had to use two functionalities. Correct? We had to use two functionalities to handle the incoming data from the request stream. Because the data was coming chunk by chunk. Right? Because it was body data, it was big, and it was coming chunk by chunk. So we had to have two functionalities or two events which were handling the data coming chunk by chunk, collecting it, combining it to form a final data in this variable, right? Everyone? And then another job was to convert that JSON data into JavaScript object. That was one more job. Correct? Now Express solves all that stuff. It makes it in just one line. All these things can be just done in one line. But guys, that doesn't mean that internally it's not happening. Internally, all the things that we have written, it's still happening. But now we are not doing it. Express is doing it for us. Is that clear, guys? So let me show you how to handle a post request. But before that, I would like to talk about a new thing today. Okay, so ready, guys? I hope we are understanding everything till now. How to handle simple GET request and how to read URL variables. Everyone, are we cleared? Can you please confirm that? And if you're cleared, please don't forget to like the session, guys. Please don't forget to like the session. Okay? So now then, let's go ahead and let's talk about some really cool thing. Okay? Cool. Let's go. Let me open a browser window quickly. Because today I'm introducing you to a really important thing. So let me just open my Jamboard quickly. Okay, and here we go. So now, guys, let's get back to normal. Okay, simple. See, this is everywhere again, guys. This is not related to Express. This is related to API development. So till now, guys, we have talked about that we have a front-end server or a testing client. Guys, again, it can be anything, right? It can be a front-end. I don't know why I'm making so many spelling mistakes today. So it can be a front-end server or it can be a testing client. It can be anything, guys. Leave that. Okay. And here we have a back-end server inside which we have our API endpoints, correct? Our functionalities, which get called on different paths and different URLs and different request methods. These particular functionalities get called. We know that. And this is our backend server. Now, there is one really important thing that goes on inside that we want to discuss today. There is a very, very important thing. So this is your backend server. Okay, leave that. Now, whenever you send a request, now we know, guys, to send a request, we need two things, the URL and the request method, correct? Those are the main two things that we need, the URL and the request method. That means at which endpoint I want this request to go to, that is decided by the URL and also by the request method, whether it is get or post. So let's say the client wants to reach to this particular endpoint. Okay, so if he specifies the proper URL and proper method, he can easily reach here. First it will reach my server, first the request reaches my server, and then it reaches the endpoint. So basically everything happens in two sets. First, because of the address, whatever it is, IP address colon 8000 or localhost colon 8000 or 127.0.0.1 colon 8000, that's my base address. By that base address, the request reaches my server. After reaching my server, based on the path /products/users, it reaches my API endpoint, right? We have learned this in a detailed way. Now, there is one more thing that we can do, or one thing that also happens that is not happening till now, but in future it is very much important. That is, if needed, once the request reaches to the server, and before letting that request reach to the endpoint, in between, you can create a function which can hold that request. So if I have to zoom it for you, think of it like this. This is the request. It has reaches the server walls. It is inside the server now. And this is the endpoint it wants to call. Now, after this, it directly goes here. But before it directly goes here, in between, I can create a functionality to which the request will go first. So before reaching to the actual endpoint where it is intending to go, I can have a function where the request will go first. Now inside this function, I can write some code which can actually check the request. What's in the request? What's happening in the request? Do I want to format the request? Do I want to format the data coming inside the request? Or is there something harmful in the request? So I can do whatever I want here. I can make changes in the request. I can make changes in the request data. And then after I'm confirmed, I can send it forward. Or I can check if there is some problem with the request data. It is some kind of, harmful data or something like that. So from here only, I can block it and send it back. I can send a response from here only without letting it reach my actual endpoint where I have my important code of accessing database or changing file system or something like that. So we can have a function in between just after the request has entered the server, but before letting it reach the actual endpoint where it is intending to go. In between, I can have a function which can, check the request, change the data, format the data, and let it to the endpoint, or block it then and there and send a response from there. Blocking it. No, it's not even letting it go to the endpoint. Understood, guys? So we can do that stuff as well. And a lot of times it is very, very important to manage the security. So guys, this guy right here, this middleman, is what you call as a middleware. One of the very important concepts in API development, middleware. Is that clear, guys? Middleware is simply a function. Now, in simple terms, middleware simply is a function which sits between the request and the endpoint where it wants to go. That's it. It's like a moderator. Yes, exactly. It's like a moderator. Something like that. It's a moderator which can first block the request. It's like a watchman. Show me what's coming in the request. I will check if everything is fine, or do I have to do something? I'll do that, and then I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll block it and I'll send you away from here only. It's clear. Is it like Redux? No. It is not at all like Redux. Don't even think of it like Redux. No. Redux is a global state management tool. It's different. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Understood, everyone? So it's a middleman. Exactly. Not only for error handling, Ujjwal. There are many purposes we can do. format the request data, you know, block the request, change something in the request, right? Check for security, check for harmful things, a lot of things. But yeah, mainly for security, for security, not only for error handling. There are a lot of things. Like, we are going to be creating it, so we can do whatever we want. Is that clear? But guys, what I'm trying to say is, coding wise, it is simply a function. Understood, guys? Is that cleared? And at different places, there are different things that happen. Is that cleared, guys? Everyone, please tell me, are we cleared here or not? Can you please confirm that? Don't worry. I'll also show you how to create a very, very, very basic middleware. Don't worry as well. I'll show you how to create a very, literally very basic middleware. Because tomorrow's session is completely dependent on middleware. Because tomorrow we're going to be learning authentication and all that. Today I'll be showing you a basic idea. A really, really basic idea. So guys, understood what's a middleware, everyone? Okay? Hopefully, because we're going to be using this concept now. That's why I just wanted to teach you how this works. Okay? So a function which sits between the request and the endpoint. Let me show you. Let me show you how to create a basic idea of middleware. Before we... See guys, the reason I'm teaching you middleware is because for the post request, for the put request, we will have to understand what exactly is a middleware. And I don't want to make it complicated. That's why I wanted to let you know about middleware first. Let me show you. Guys, please focus. I'm showing you how to create a middleware now. Okay? And it's very simple. Trust me, guys. You might have heard of it a lot. It's very simple. See. We can get a very simple function like this. Function. Okay. It should have 3 parameters. Now call it whatever you want. So let me call it as middleman. Okay, guys, again, it's just a function. Call it whatever you want. But remember, a middleware should always have 3 parameters. Should always have 3 parameters. Request. These are fixed. First will be always request. Because guys, see. Now, if the request is coming, first it will come to the middleware. So middleware function, just like your endpoint. See. Let me close this window now. We don't need this window anymore. Remove this. Okay. See, just like your endpoint function has the object to access the request, has the access of request and has the access of response, right? Just like that, middleware function also has the access to request and response. But it also has third thing, which is called as a next function. Again, guys, it's just a parameter. You can call it whatever you want, but I would suggest you to call it next. Please don't call it anything else. Otherwise, the concept will be confused. Okay, you'll be getting confused in the concept. So request, response, and next. Simple function. Now, if you want this function, so let me create an endpoint. Very simple endpoint. App.get. Guys, please focus. Okay, please focus. Let's say I'm creating an endpoint called as testing. Okay, and here I want someone will send a ID. Okay, guys, are you getting my point? So I have a endpoint called as testing, and someone will be sending a ID in the URL parameter. Here also we have request, and here also we have response. Correct, everyone? Cool. Simple idea. Okay. Or let's say something like, let's call it something else. Let's call it as, what can we call it, guys? I don't know. Again, you can call it whatever you want, but okay, just for testing, let's call it ID. Fine, it's okay, just to give you an idea. Okay. Now, here, let's handle it like this. Response. So if someone sends a request here, I'm going to send a response. Response.send. Let's say a message. Now see guys, right now it's a very basic idea, okay? But in future we'll be doing big things. Testing request. Okay? So this is my endpoint. Let's see if it is working as of now. Let's see if it is working. So the name is testing, and I have to send some ID. Let's test it. /3. Send. Are we getting response? Yes, it's working. Now what I want is if the ID's value, is less than 10, please block the request. Don't let it come to the endpoint, because in my endpoint I can have 100 more lines of code, which is very important. Okay, so what I want is, if the ID's value is going to be less than 10, I simply want to block the request. Now if needed, guys, I can do that here, but that's a security issue. If there is some problem, why I am letting it come to the endpoint at first place? So now what I can do is, see guys, focus. I can mention this middleman as the second parameter of my endpoint, like this. This function, I'll mention it here. I have to mention this middleman here. Okay, now what will happen? If a request comes to this URL, before going to this function, API endpoint function, it will go to this middleman. So the same request and same response are also available here. So now I can check here. If request.params.id is less than 10, then I can send a response from here only. You are blocked, something like that. If not, then we can have a else, and we can call this function. This function, what it does is, it lets you go to the endpoint. So guys, that's how it happens. No, it's not like a schema, Komalpreet. Guys, please don't compare it to schema or something like that. It's simply a function which gets called before the request that is coming to this endpoint reaches the actual function. So now this function is sitting in middle, technically sitting in middle. Okay. So now if a request, see normally what happens, if a request comes to this URL, this function is called. Correct everyone? If a request comes to this URL, this function is called. Now, if a request comes to this URL, this function won't be called. First, this function will be called. And in this function also, you have the access to request and response. And if I'm checking now, if request params ID is less than 10, from here only I'm sending response. That's it. You're done. But if not, then next. This next function makes sure that whatever request was coming, that is now contained by this function, will move to the next function. This next function sends the request which is coming in this function, in this middle function, to the next main endpoint. That's how it works. Yes, it's mandatory. Now, if you say else, no, you can remove the else. But next is mandatory. If you don't have next, it won't move to the main function which you want it to go, where you want it to go. It won't move. That's why calling next is very important at some point of time. Otherwise, the request will end up in the middleware. It will not move forward. Next is like, okay, fine, go ahead. Go ahead. So next is a function which lets the request move forward to this function. Is that clear, guys? Everyone getting the idea? So now if a request comes to this endpoint, instead of going here, see, initially it was going here, right? That's why we got this response, testing request. Because initially it was directly going in this function, but now no. It will go to the middleman function, which is this function. And if the ID is less than 10, which I'm sending here, 3, it is less than 10. So definitely from here only you'll get a response, blocked. But if it is greater than 10, so if I mention like, 13. So yes, is request.params.id less than 10? No, it's 13. So next. Next means move the request forward and call this function. Next means call the main function. Call the main endpoint function. So this will be called, and whatever you have done, it will be done. Is that clear, guys? Everyone understood the idea here? Usually, are you cleared with next function, buddy? Please tell me. Are you cleared with the idea of next? Let me show you now how it works. Let me show you if it is getting blocked. So let's pass 3. Let's see if it is working. Send. See, guys, you got a response of you are blocked. Understood? And let me show you that you're not coming, you're not reaching this place. Let me show you. Let me print console.log main endpoint. See, let me show you. If I click, see, it's not getting printed. That means you're not even reaching inside this. You're ending up here only. You're getting your response from here and you're done. But if I pass something like, let's say 13, so now this request will go to this URL. Then from here, it will go to middleman, and then this middleman will check. Okay, check if request.params.id is less than 10. No, it's 13. Fine then. Next. Next means let the request go to the main endpoint now. And here now, this should be done. So now if I check it, See, you got testing request and it also got printed. So next is simply a function which lets it move to the main function, main endpoint. That's all. That's what next means. Is it clear, guys? Understood, everyone? So that's what next means. Is it clear? That means if it is less than 10, send a response from here. That means at some point of time you have to send next. That's it. That's it. Yes, yes, don't worry. I'm going to give you the real-time example. Is that clear, guys? This is validation, right, Komalpreet? You have done already validation. So do whatever you want here. Only if you're sure that request is good to go. Then you will call next. That's all. Once you're sure that your now do whatever you want here. Only if you're sure that your request is good to go. Now see, I have not shown you many things here. This is just an example. Exactly. Without next, you can't move forward. Yes, Ujjwal. Guys, if you're using a middleware function and if you don't call next, you will never reach this main function. Is that clear? Yes, Rishikesh, it's JavaScript. You can use whatever you want. At the end, it's JavaScript, buddy. So guys, you can use whatever you want. At the end, it is JavaScript only. Use whatever you want, literally, less than, greater than, whatever you want. Okay. But guys, if you don't call next, you will never reach to your main function. So next is the function. That's why it is a fixed parameter. It should be there. Understood, guys? So write whatever you want here, do whatever you want here, any kind of validation, but at the end, a next should be there somewhere. So once you're sure that everything is fine, then call next. That's your job. Is that clear, guys? So this is a basic example. So guys, do whatever you want here. Do whatever you want, but at some point when you're sure, okay, I'm good to go. I have checked everything. I have validated everything. Next. Exactly, Akhilesh. So guys, got the idea, everyone? Now, let me show you one more thing. Here I did it in a simple way. Technically, you can also do it in this way, but it will look very complicated. That's why I didn't do it in this way. See, here, instead of calling this function here, you can also do this, right? Directly create this function here. Now I think it will be much more understandable. But see, the code looks so complicated now, right? So you can also directly create this function in here. And then you can write this code here. It means the exact same thing. So now, if a request comes here, first it will go in this function. You can do whatever you want. Then this next will make sure that you move forward to this function. Now it looks much more simpler to understand. I just created it separately so that you understand it properly. So it's like this. Actually, the idea is like this. See? Now it's much more better, right? So if a request, see, it also looks complicated at the same time. Okay, so don't do this. Normally don't do this, guys. Avoid this kind of code. It makes it look very complicated. But I think it will make sense now. So if a request comes here, first, see, normally what happens, if a request comes here, it goes to this function. If a request comes for this endpoint, call this function. And whatever you have done, it will go as a response. If a request comes for this endpoint, call this function. Just like that, now you have one more function. If a request comes for this endpoint, first this function is called. Same request response that you have available here, you also have available here. So you can do whatever you want. But you have one extra thing that is next, which you will call whenever you're sure, now you're ready to move on to the next function, which is the main one. Understood, guys? So you can do your testing here and your final things here, but only if you need it. Don't do it without any reason. Got the idea, guys? But you understood, right, why I did it as a separate function? Because it looks very complicated. Is it clear, everyone? Guys, understood the idea? And you can also use the same middleware in multiple endpoints. It's okay. See, right now there is no use, but just showing you that you can use the same middleware. That means now, for this request also, if the ID is less than 10, middleware will block it. Exactly, Komalpreet. That's what I'm saying. Next means just go to the next function, move forward. That's all. Okay. So guys, got the idea, everyone. Now see, the same middleware function is sitting between two requests. That means for this request also, middleman is there. For this request also, middleman is there. That means now for both the requests, first it will be checked that if ID is less than 10. Understood, guys? for both of them. And you can also mention it everywhere if you want. Is that cleared, guys? Everyone, can you please confirm that? Are we cleared or not? Please tell me. Everyone. Now see, it is not needed, but just showing you that you can mention it anywhere you want. Now tomorrow, guys, don't worry, tomorrow we'll be creating a really cool middleware. But I hope you understood that the same request response object that is available in your main function, the main endpoint function, it's also available in middleware. So whatever you can do here, you can also do here. We can also do database connection here. But why will we do it a database connection in middleware if it is not needed? But I hope you got the idea. Okay, so use middlewares for checking, for formatting, for different things. And use your main function for properly handling the request, accessing database, for doing the main things. That's the idea. Okay, now guys, why did I teach you middleware? Even if we don't need it right now. Why? Okay, one more thing, guys, before we move ahead. Now let's say I have 20 endpoints. Think of it like this, guys. I have 20 endpoints. And to all the 20 endpoints, I want to give this middleware. That means this middleware will sit between all the 20 endpoints. That means for all the 20 endpoints, this idea will be checked. Correct, everyone? Correct. But it sounds very, too much lengthy, right? Now, if I have 300 endpoints, am I going to mention this middleman 300 times? No. So if you're sure that no, I am going to mention this middleware for each and every endpoint, so rather than writing it again and again, you know what you can do? You can simply go ahead and use a function called as app.use and simply pass that function here. That's all. That's all. That's it, guys. So if you do this, now this middleman will sit between each and every request that you have already. Now, that means now you no longer have to mention it separately again and again. By just writing this line, app.use middleman, that means now every request that comes to my API, first it will go through this function and then only to the main functions. Now whether the request is coming to this or to this or to this. The basic meaning is, think of it like this. Now I have mentioned it everywhere, like this. So this and this are same. If I mention it everywhere as a middleware function, so this logic, so rather than mentioning it everywhere again and again, you can simply do this. But only if you're sure that you're going to be using the middleware everywhere. Understood, guys? App.use and pass the middleware in between. That's it. That's all. Is that cleared? But this way is basically to apply middleware for each and every endpoint. If you don't want that, you can also mention it separately or to add few endpoints. Up to you. Is that cleared, everyone? Hopefully you got it. And normally when you don't need middleware, you only have two parameters. First your URL, second your main endpoint. If you want middleware, then you just have to have one more parameter. And guys, trust me, please, focus here. It should be in between the URL and the endpoint. Middleware should be always in between, not as the last or the first. Between. Normally, no need. Got the idea, guys? So I'll keep it here. And I'll also keep this testing function as example. And always you have the video with you, right? If you want to check. If you want to check back again. So I'll keep these two things here always. Okay. So just keep it like, and don't worry, guys, tomorrow we'll revise this again. So don't worry about that. Just please don't forget what is middleware tomorrow. Okay. Hopefully you won't forget. Okay, guys. Hopefully you won't forget what middleware is tomorrow, right? Hopefully. Now leave that. Let's get back. Let's get back. So guys, now we have handled two GET requests. Let's remove this one. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Okay. Or let's remove this one. Let's create it for products actually. Products. And here only ID, not name. Because guys, I hope you've understood the idea, right, everyone? So I no longer have to use different URLs. Correct, guys? So let's say we'll create this endpoint for single product based on ID. Single product. And this was for all products. So guys, now is the whole picture cleared? Guys, is the whole picture cleared now? So can I use toMiddle in one endpoint? Yes, then you have to call middleware inside middleware. Just like that. Is that cleared, Sarma? So if you want to use it like that, then you have to call middleware inside middleware. Just write that function, just call that functionality, return something, and then move next. You can do that. Is it clear, Sarma? Technically, yeah, you can use. Like, answer is yes. Answer is yes. But there's a way of forming it. So yeah. So you have to focus on that. But don't worry, I'm also going to show you how to use multiple middlewares in a function. Don't worry. But right now, let's keep it simple because we are still at starter stage. So yeah, don't worry. Tomorrow is a very big day. So guys, all cleared. Now we have two simple endpoints. That means now, if someone sends a GET request on /products, this will go as response. Exactly like recursion, Rishikesh. Exactly. And if someone sends a request on /products / some data, some ID, then we'll send this as response. Correct, guys, everyone? So you tell me, which endpoint this will call? Will this be for all products or for single product? Tell me, guys. This is for all products or single product? This one. Come on, quickly. All products, correct? And only if I go ahead and pass one more thing like /2. So now this 2 will go in this ID. URL is same, /products, but now we also have ID. So now it will match this URL. And this will be for single product. Okay, everyone. That's good, guys. Yeah, good answer. Amazing. And also, guys, I can see the likes are not increasing today. What's happening? Come on, guys. Like the video, everyone. If you're enjoying this session, if you're understanding everything, come on. Okay, I can see now. I think it was on hang. Yeah, I can see now. Okay, you guys have liked. Good job, good job, good job. Okay. So how many parameters we can pass in middleware? Like here, we only use ID. Middleware? I think you mean URL, not middleware, right, Komalpreet? It's URL, not middleware. Middleware is a function which sits between here. So I think you mean URL, correct? I hope I'm right. Komalpreet, you mean URL, right? You can pass n number of parameters, up to you. Because there is a fixed length. Guys, see, URLs have a fixed length. I think I forgot the length size, so let me just quickly check. What can be the maximum length of URL? See, guys, it should be only 2048 characters. That means in that 2048, mention whatever you want, up to you. Is that cleared? So that means the maximum length of this field that you have here is 2048 characters. In that, you can fit 100 variables, 20 variables, 1 variable, 2 variable, up to you. Hi, Vasu, how are you, buddy? We can pass in middleware. Like here, we use only ID. If I want to pass more, this can be handled by more than one middleware. Middleware can handle anything, right? See, again, Komalpreet, don't get confused. See, just like I told you. See, okay, guys, one more time. Let's understand middleware because I think there is some confusion going on. See, Komalpreet, try to understand. Okay, focus here. I can have, let's say, now you tell me how many parameters do we have here? Tell me, Komalpreet. How many parameters do we have here? 4? Correct? As I said, we can have 10 also. Everyone, we can also have 10, 20, 30. Correct? Now to access all that in here, we need to access it like this. Okay, request dot params dot age or city or name. Now, you tell me, Komal, how are we accessing this parameter? Using the request object, correct? We are able to access these 4 parameters using the request object. That means what we need is a request object. Middleware is just a function. Middleware is just a function. That means if I create a middleware, and as I said, middleware also has the request object access. So the request object that you have here is the same request object that you have here. It's just you call it in here in between. Correct? So the request object that is coming in this request, instead of going here in this endpoint, in this function, first it goes in this function. That means it is the same request object. So if this request object can access all these variables, it is the same object that you have here. That means this request object can also have access to all these 4 variables. Is that cleared, Komal? Understood? It is the same thing. Like if I create it directly, rather than doing this, if I do it like this, request, response, and next. Middleware will always have next. So now you see, it is the same thing. That means before the request goes to this function, it is going to this function. So if all these 4 parameters can be accessed through request, it doesn't matter whether you access it in the main function, main endpoint, or in the middleware function. Understood, Komal? So it doesn't matter. See guys, this is also a function. Middleware is also a function. This also has a request to request and response. Middleware also has the access to request response. So whatever you can do here, you can do here. Understood? Just middleware has one extra thing called as next, which helps you to move forward to the next function which you have. That's all. Other than that, whatever you want, you can do in that middleware. Handle request and response, whatever you want, you can do that. Is that cleared? Then middleware act for all 4. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Print, use, do whatever you want. Is that cleared? Everyone, are we cleared here? Please tell me, guys. Understand, they are just 2 functions. They are just 2 functions. When will you start React? See, I'll tell you, mostly we are gonna start React from December 11th. December 11th mostly. Guys, almost confirmed, December 11th. Okay, after this, just 1 week break, and then December 11th we'll be starting it. Okay, so guys, please understand, even though, see, I know that some of you are beginners, so I completely understand this confusion. Even I was at this place. So first of all, don't worry. Okay, second of all, just treat middleware like a normal function which gets called when a request comes. So when a request, see, normally what happens, when a request comes, this function gets called. When a request for this URL comes, this function gets called. Just like that, when a request for this URL comes, now first you have this function. That's why this will be called, then this will be called. But this will be called only if you call next, because next is the function which helps to move forward. If you don't have middleware, all good. If you have it, it's your job to call the next function. Otherwise, you won't move forward. Okay. Hi, Thor. How are you, buddy? So guys, I hope you understood. Whatever you can do in here, you can also do in the middleware. You literally think of it like this. You have 2 functions. Both the functions have the same 2 objects. Do whatever you want. No one is stopping you. But think before doing. And that is what you're going to be learning with me. Right now, just have the idea of what a middleware is. But what are the things to do in middleware? What you think? What are the things you should avoid? That will come with learning, which I'm going to be teaching you in the next few days, and also by practice. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, guys. So let me remove this middleware now. We don't need it anymore. Yes, exactly. Next, like a submit button. Yes, forward. Check view, forward, like that. Okay, cool then. Now then, everyone, let's go ahead. And shall we handle a post request, everyone, now? Let's go. So now, a post endpoint. So app dot simple post. And again, the same URL. That means now, if someone sends a request on /products post, so it will go to this endpoint. Let's test it. Guys, always remember, whenever you're creating an API, before doing any major operations, test your endpoints. That will solve half the issues. Because when the code gets bigger, it is very tough to test. Okay, so make sure you test all your endpoints. So again, request, response, and just to test, response.send message post working. Okay, guys, everyone, simple, all good. Let's test it. Send, and here we go, guys. Post working. That means the endpoint is working. That means the request is going at a proper place, and we are getting the proper response. Now, guys, what is one important thing that we send in post request, everyone? That is the body data. Correct, everyone? Sir, can I pass optional in get request for create search? Yes, yes, why not? Yes, yes, I'll show you how to pass optional parameters. Don't worry. Don't worry, Sarma. I'm here. Don't worry. Definitely, I'll be teaching you. I'll be trying to teach you guys everything that is required. Yes, so there is a possibility. So now guys, how do we pass data in post request? Remember guys, please don't forget body data. It is the request body. Okay. Now let me show you. So we'll pass it from here. So let's pass the dummy data. JSON name Saurabh, age 26, something like that, or 27. I don't know. I know my age actually. Yeah, it's 27. Okay. Now guys, remember everyone, this is your body data. Okay. Now guys, normally how do we handle it? We know that this data goes through a stream. Correct everyone? Guys, correct or not? Please tell me, correct or not? So how did we handle? We know that it comes through a stream in the request object. So how do we handle it? We do this, request.on data. And here we receive it chunk by chunk. Correct guys? Everyone? We did this. Here we receive it chunk by chunk. And then here, let's say let product. We have to create a blank variable. That's the process. That's what we have already learned. Hopefully no one is confused, guys. For everyone, for anyone who is new here, guys, this is a part of a big course. So please also watch my previous sessions for this course. Okay, chunk by chunk. So we receive data. So we will receive this whole data chunk by chunk in a JSON string format. Okay, and at the end, that whole data will be available here, right? Like this. Sorry. Okay, in this callback function, we'll be having our data. So if I print console.log that product, so that data will be available. Correct, guys? Everyone? Let's test it. This should be working. Let's test it. Send. Here we go, guys. You got it. But you can see it's coming in JSON string format. But we want it in JavaScript object format. So for that, we do this JSON.parse. And here we go. Now you're getting it as an object format. See that? The color has changed. So guys, this is what we used to do in our API, in our core API, in HTTP module. But then you might ask, sir, why we are still doing it? Now we are using Express. And as I told you that it will become easier now. So why are we still doing it? Okay. Then in get request, how do we give data in ID, sir? Then get request, how to give? How to give? That's how we give, right? Slash whatever you want. Right, Akhilesh? That's what we do. What's the confusion here? That's what we did, right? That's what we have learned. If you want to pass data for ID, while creating the endpoint, pass the name of the variable which you're expecting. And to match this endpoint, you have to call slash products, slash whatever data you want, and then get request. That's how you send, right? Akhilesh, are you confused somewhere, buddy? If you're sending a request on this URL, think which URL it is matching. Slash products, slash something. It is this one. It is only slash products. It is slash products and post. So it's matching this one, slash products, slash something. Because that's a variable, so that can be anything. So that's something. What's the confusion, buddy? Can you please tell me? What's the issue in get request? If I use another name instead of Express, would I be using that name instead of Express? Yes. Yes, Drex. Yes. If you use a different, see, you can't use a different name here because it is the package name. But here you can definitely use a different name. It's up to you. No, sir. In previous lecture, we learned if passed URL and user URL matches, we get the data, sir. But here we passed URL and user URL matches. That's the case, Akhilesh. Here everything is already sorted. You don't have to parse the URL. That's the idea here. You're getting the point. You don't do all that stuff here. No issues. No issues. Here URL parsing is already happening. Everything is already happening for you. Is that cleared? Getting the idea, Akhilesh? Please tell me. Here you just have to focus on your URL format. If it matches the format and the method, the proper endpoint will be called. That's it. So while creating, you have to make sure you understand what parameter variables you want, what you want to name it, and how the format will look like. Because here, more than name, it depends on the format. See guys, there, in the URL, you used to mention the name like this, id equals 1. So URL new, that this is the name of the variable. But now in Express, you're not mentioning name anymore. That means the control of name is not with the URL now. That's why you don't need to parse the URL anymore. It is still getting parsed, but you don't have to worry about it. Initially, we were passing all my data in URL with the names finalized by me. So the URL knew the name, but now the URL doesn't know name. URL doesn't know if this is the ID or this is the name or this is age. It is only known by the API endpoint. Now only the formats match. Slash products slash something. Slash products slash something. Get. That's all. Only the format is matched. Not the data, not the variable, nothing. Is that clear, guys? Just check the format. Are we understanding? Okay, there we had the control of everything. That is the benefit of core modules. We have control of literally everything. Here we don't have control of everything, and that's fine. We don't want control. We want easiness as of now. But we still have a lot of control, don't worry. So guys, got the idea, everyone? Hopefully your doubt is cleared, Akhilesh. Okay, so now guys, you might ask, sir, why are we still handling our data like this? As I told you that Express will make it easier. So why are we still handling our data like this? So guys, shall we move ahead and make it easier? Now guys, if you're using Express, you don't have to worry about receiving data chunk by chunk, waiting for the stream to end and parsing data. What you can do is, don't do all of this. Just go ahead, okay, and use a middleware. Now guys, it is an inbuilt middleware. See, just like I create my middleware functions, Express also gives you some inbuilt middleware functions, which you just have to call properly. Is that clear, guys? Everyone, are you getting the point? Okay, so here I created my own middleware. But now, we're going to be using one middleware which is provided by Express, and which I want at every endpoint. So if I want it at every endpoint, guys, what do I have to do? App.use. And the middleware comes from the Express object. That middleware function comes from the Express object. So here I have to mention Express, and the function name is JSON. That's it. This function, what it does it extracts the data from the request. Think of it like this. See, now this is the middleware, right? This is the middleware. That means it will sit before the request. So whatever request is coming from here, it will first, instead of going here, it will first go to the middleware function. This middleware function will access the request and do everything that we have done here already by default for us. And it will extract the data, form it, read it chunk by chunk, convert it to JS object, and then finally, it will create a new property called as body in the request object. So if I have to give you an idea, something like this is happening. See, I'm giving you the whole idea. Somewhere, this express.json function is there, in which you have the request, you have the response, you have the next. Okay, and this whole logic is getting done there. This whole logic is getting done there. Okay, and at the end, whatever pass data is available in this request object only, I'm passing a new property. So request.body equals to this, and then I'm moving it forward next like this. This is happening, guys. Can you understand the point here? See, this express.json function is now a middleware. So it's sitting between the request which is coming here, right? So now that means somewhere I have a middleware function which is getting access to request and response, right? Everyone getting the point? So if it is accessing my request, whatever I was doing here to extract the data out of the request stream, it is getting done here. And whatever I extracted, it is getting converted to JS object, and then it is stored in a body property of the request object, and then next. Okay, next means move forward. That means move to this endpoint. And here now, in the request object, a body property was assigned in which the data is there. So now I can access my data here in the same property, request.body. Now let me show you. I don't have to do any of that stuff. Just apply this middleware, and now you can use this. That means internally somewhere this whole functionality is going on. Let me show you now. If I send this request, see, you still get your data, and done. Just one line. Rather than writing this whole thing, just one line. Is it clear to everyone what's going on? See, you don't have to worry about this anymore. Just wanted to show you what's going on so that you're not confused. So guys, whatever we were doing here to extract data from the request, whatever we were doing here to extract data from the request, now it is done in the middleware. So I hope you understand this code. Extraction of data from request is done in the middleware. Then it is converted and it is stored in a body property of request object. And then the request is moved forward, which is this function, move forward to the main endpoint. And here I can access that request body because this request object and this are exactly same. So guys, you got the idea what's happening here? Just showed you what might be happening in that middleware. Is that clear, guys? But as a coder, you don't have to worry about it. You just have to access request.body, that's all. But you don't forget to apply this middleware. So initially. Is that cleared, everyone? Can you please confirm, are we cleared with this or not? Can you please confirm once? I'm waiting for your answer. Can you guys please confirm once? What's happening? Everyone, I want every one of you to answer. Come on, guys. Cleared? Now you understood why I taught you middleware before moving on to actual things. You got the idea? Otherwise, you would have never understood what's going on with this. Understood the reason why I taught you middleware, even though we are not creating it anywhere. The reason I taught you middleware, so that you completely understand what this is. So that I just don't have to tell you, okay, it is something that I'll teach you afterwards. Because I know it's a very integral part of understanding what's going on. That is the reason I taught you middleware first. So now you understand something like this is going on. All the things chunk by chunk reading and all that happens in the middleware. That means instead of the main endpoint, that chunk by chunk reading is done in the middleware. So simple logic. Just to again, guys, give you a complete idea. Hey, where is my taskbar gone? Where's my taskbar? I think I pressed F11 by mistake. Yes, I pressed F11. Okay. So basically the idea is, initially, what was happening, guys? Our post request was directly going to the endpoint. And here we did that chunk by chunk extraction, conversion, all that stuff. Now what we are doing? The request first goes here. The chunk by chunk extraction, reading, conversion happens here. And after that, that data that is formed is applied to request. And then we call next, which moves the request forward. And here, we no longer have to do all this. We directly have the access to data. That's all. So the big process is done in the middleware. Understood, guys? That's one real-time use case of middleware. You got the idea, everyone? You guys were asking, right? Sir, one example of middleware. Got it? One real-time example of middleware. Yes, 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 Drex. We can also apply multiple middlewares. Yes, yes, I'll be showing you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Step by step, I'll be showing you everything. Don't you worry, guys. Don't you worry. I'm here. This is only one middleware. Sir, in middleware, we give condition ID less than 10, then ID is blocked. Other than ID, we use other validation. Yes. Again, Komalpreet, think of it like... Guys, please don't think of middleware as some hodgepodge big thing. It's not. It is just a function which stops the request from going to the actual point. You can do whatever you want in middleware and let it go forward or block it from here. It is just a function, guys. It is just an endpoint. Do whatever you want. Again, guys, listen to me carefully. Do whatever you want. Okay, please. I know it's initially tough to understand because it's a big name, right? Middleware. Guys, always in coding, remember, everything has a big name. Everything has some name. At the end, either it's going to be a variable or a property or a function. Nothing other than this. Like in React, you might be heard of hooks. So people get scared. Oh, hooks. What are hooks? Functions. Just functions, that's all. Functions which let you access React's internal features. That's all. They let you connect to React's internal features. That is the reason they are called as hooks. They let you connect. But people get scared. Hooks, I don't know what's going on. It's a function. So try to understand everything in terms of basic idea. Function, object, class. That's all. They will have always fancy names depending on what they are doing. Like I'm a human being, but I'm a teacher because I teach. But at the end, I'm a human being. That's all. Just like that. I mean, inside, No, you can't call multiple middlewares in the same app.use, but you can mention multiple app.use like this, app.use, app.use. So you can have multiple middlewares like this. So first this middleware will be called, then this one, like that. So you can have multiple app.use. You can't mention multiple middlewares in the same app.use. Okay, that will also make your code look complicated. So Drex, you can use multiple app.uses. You can have 10, 20, and we'll be having around 3 to 4. Don't worry. In some time, maybe by tomorrow, you will be having 3 to 4 middlewares. So yes. And tomorrow, guys, we'll be also building our own middleware for some real use case. So be ready for that as well. So guys, got the idea, everyone? Post is working. And now I hope you got the whole idea. Now you know, right, how to handle put and delete as well. I think the idea is cleared. Guys, chalo. In delete, guys, what do we do in delete? In delete, we only require URL parameter, no body data. Correct or not, guys? Everyone? In delete, we only require URL parameter, right? No body data. Correct or not? So app dot delete. Simple. Again, slash products. And guys, how do we pass URL parameter in Express? How do we pass URL parameter in Express? While creating the endpoint only, we have to mention the variable name. Correct, everyone? Guys, and here, request response. Let me print the ID. So guys, tell me, how do we access the URL ID? Let me see if you can answer now. The code is here only. Guys, how do I access the URL parameter in here? How do I access this URL parameter here? Come on, tell me. Quickly, everyone. What should I write to access it? Let me see if you can answer. Till that time, I'll just drink a little bit water. Guys, come on. Everyone, how do we access this ID here? Answer me, everyone. Come on, guys, quickly. How do we access this ID? Come on, guys. Here we have already accessed. Whatever variables you have here. Yes, now I got the answer. Yes. Whatever variables you mention the URL, using the request object params property, you can access whatever you want. So simple. Request, always same. Guys, technically, everything here will be always same. ID, that's all. And just for some dummy response. Simple logic. What is it, guys? Send anything, whatever you want. Message. Delete. Guys, did you guys get confused here? That's all, right? So now, if I send a request on slash products without any data, and if it is a delete request and some ID like /2, that's it, right? Send, and here we go, delete successful. So guys, see, the same URL /product/2 matches 2 endpoints. This one. But guys, can you tell me how are they different then? If they are the exact same URL /product/ID /product/ID. So can you guys tell me how it is getting identified? Exactly, because of the method. Simple. Here it is get. Here it is delete. So if I put get method, it will work for single product. If I use delete method, it will work for delete. Simple. Exactly. Now you guys are getting idea. Amazing. Now guys, we know in put, see, in post, you only pass body data. In delete and in single get, you only pass URL parameter. But we know that in put, in update, you have to pass both things. Here, you also send body data. There, you also send URL parameter. And guys, I think we know how to read both, right? Let's test it. App.post /products. Sorry, why am I writing post? I'm really sorry, guys. Put /products /ID. That's it. Request response. And guys, see, always remember, here we have used app.use. That means now this is a global middleware. That means this middleware will also work for post, and the same middleware will also work for put. So now, to access this ID, we'll use the same logic, request.parameter. So in the request, and guys, everyone, how do we read body data? because now it's a put. So we'll also be getting body data. So don't worry. It's going through this middleware. The data will be extracted chunk by chunk, converted, formatted, and it will come in the same format, request.body. So same logic. To get the actual data, request.body. That's all. So guys, remember, your data can only come in two ways. See, I'm giving you the mantra, main logic that people forget. There are only two ways by which data will come. Either it's URL or it's body. To read URL, request.params. To read body, don't forget, apply the middleware and then simply request.body. That's all. No matter in post and put, request.body. Because I have shown you, internally in the middleware, it will come chunk by chunk, formatted, transmitted, and next. And then you will receive it like this. If you don't use middleware, then you have to do your own job. And guys, you tell me, I hope we know, right? Even if someone in future tells me in an interview that don't use this middleware, if someone gives you an interview question and asks you, don't use the middleware, can you do it without middleware? Let me ask my students, can you do it without middleware? Let me ask you guys, can you do it without middleware? Do you have that much skill now? That if someone asks you that don't use the middleware and still, let me, show me how to extract the request data in post or input. Will you guys be able to do it? Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Geek24. Thank you so much, buddy, and welcome to the stream. Thank you so much. And guys, again, I keep forgetting. Please, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Our goal is at least by this whole December, let's reach 2.5k subs. Let's see. Because we have a lot of things coming, guys. See, after this, we have React. That will be mark an end to full stack development. Then I'm planning for, again, a 3-day 3 project session, guys, after React. And then Flutter as well. Yeah, Flutter is also planned. And guys, one more thing I would like to tell you, just before we move ahead, one more thing, one announcement. Thank you so much, Geek24. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much for subscribing. Means a lot, buddy. Means a lot. Sir, one more time, repeat put. Again, same thing. See, Akhilesh, what happens in put? In put, it is basically for update. So you pass two things. One is the ID that you're going to be using for update that we have already learned in the old API, in the old way. You pass ID in the parameter and you also send body data. Correct? You also send body data like this. So input, you just have to take care of both the things. Input, you have to take care of both the things of handling body data and also of handling URL parameter. And literally, we know how to handle both the things, right? To read URL parameter, you do request.params, and to read body data, you do request.body. That's all, right? So let's say in here, just for testing, name Saurabh and send. Oh, I didn't send a response. That's why it's loading now. Let's send a response. So response.send, let's say something like, message put successful. Send. And here we go, guys. Put successful. And if you check out your console, you got both the things. The ID too, and also the name. Okay. So guys, now you know how to handle all different kinds of requests here. You can see that, right? Everyone. Now you know all different kinds of requests. You know how to handle everything. So guys, are we cleared with all these stuff? Can you please confirm that once? Now guys, yesterday we learned MongoDB operations, right? Yesterday we learned MongoDB operations. Now just think. In all different endpoints, you just have to do some basic MongoDB operations. Here, perform the find operation and send the data in response. Here, perform the single find operation, find one, and send data as response. Here, perform the create operation. Right? Yesterday we learned all that, right, everyone? Do you remember or not? I think not yesterday, in the last session. Here, perform the delete operation, MongoDB delete operation. That means the format will always be same. That's why I tell guys, API development is one of the most easiest things, only if you practice it properly. Now, just in different functions, properly call the proper MongoDB operations, create, update, delete, and just send proper responses. That's all. That is all, guys. That's all. Okay. So guys, I really hope that all these things are clear to you, everyone. So now you also know how to create simple API using Express. So guys, now let's move forward. Should we integrate the MongoDB operations as well? Shall we? Yes, before I was thinking that backend server-side coding will be more difficult, but thank you so much, Utpal. That's my job. That's what I'm trying my best to do, to make it easier for you guys. So guys, should we do the basic MongoDB operations, everyone? But I hope you remember that for that, 3 basic setups are there, right? Database connection, schema creation, and model creation. And after that, all the operations, right? So let's go ahead, guys. How to practice? I think for practicing, just think of different data. Like I'm doing it for products, do it for users, do it for cars. Just use different data and think of different scenarios. Sometimes people might want to search by name. So in that, try to create an endpoint where people can search the data by name. Sometimes try to create a product with 2 properties, 3 properties, 4 properties. You have to do these things. If you practice 3-4 APIs, I think you'll be good enough to create any API in this world. If you just practice it for 3, 4, or 5 times maximum. Starting small, then every time increasing the complexity, changing things. Oh, that's a really great compliment, Rishikesh. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, so shall we go ahead then? Okay, so let me quickly open my Compass where we can see all the database and all that stuff. And let's take the next half an hour to complete this whole API properly. Okay, so connect. Okay, now guys, in here we can use anything. So let me see. Okay, guys, see. In our MongoTools database, we have a collection called as products. So shall we connect it to this? Guys, because here we also have a lot of products. Can you see that? So guys, shall we connect it to this? But here we also have a ID property. Actually, we have 2 ID properties here. You can see. We have 2 ID properties here. See that? One ID which is auto-generated and one ID which I am creating. So that means while creating schema now, I also have to create ID property because that is the format of this data, right? And we have around 29 data. See? We also have some dummy data here that I have inserted. I think I should delete it quickly. Or should I just go ahead and delete everything? But I forgot the query. Guys, what was the query to delete everything? What was the query to delete everything? But do we have any options here? I forgot the MongoDB query. Come on, guys. Do we know how to delete everything? Okay, let's just drop the collection. Yeah, delete many. But in this case, let's just drop the collection. Products. Drop it. And now let's create one more. And we can start our own now. So create collection. Okay, done, guys. So now we have products collection, MongoTools our database name, and we also know the URL, right? So guys, let's do the first step. So before all these endpoints, here only, database connection. Okay, let's do it, guys. Again, we have installed Mongoose, right? Hopefully, yes, installed it. So let's import it and let's use it. Guys, whatever we learned in the last session, now everything will be using here. Okay, so let's go. Require, I hope you remember. If you don't, guys, please open that document. We have learned it and I have also uploaded it on GitHub, but I really hope that you guys remember it. So let's import Mongoose. First job is to do database connection. Don't worry, guys. Think of it like a revision. So database connection, mongoose.connect. And the URL will be, remember it. Again, guys, as I said, it can be any URL. Local MongoDB server URL, some global MongoDB server URL, your own MongoDB server URL, it can be anything. But for now, local one. So MongoDB / localhost, as it's a local server and it's running on port number 27017. I think so, hopefully. / you also have to pass your database name. My database name is MongoTools. So MongoTools. That's it. Now, guys, we know that connect function returns a promise, right, everyone? Connect function returns a promise. So to handle promise, there are 2 ways. Either async await or then catch. So I'm going to be using then catch. So So then, if the connection is successful, the promise resolves. So we can handle it in then. So console.log, simple. Let's just say database connection successful. And if something happens, then we can have a dot catch here. And we can report the error or log the error just to see what's going on. So console.log the error. Okay, done then. Let's check it out. Let's open the console. See guys, you got two messages, everyone. Server up and running. It's coming because of what? This one. Server up and running. Because this listen function creates the server and runs it. So you got it. And you also got what? Database connection successful. So both the operations are done. And now we are good to go. So first of all, we are going to, as we don't have any data right now. Guys, we don't have any data right now. So first thing that we're going to be doing is, we'll be working with the post request. Okay. So this is the endpoint to create a product. But guys, before that, we need a schema, right? Everyone, schema and model, because without that we can't do operations. So after this, schema for products. Guys, let's go. Cons schema. Sorry, don't call it schema. I'm going to call it as product schema equals mongoose.schema. And in here now we'll mention everything. And let's also, guys, provide proper validation that we have learned already. So ID will be auto-generated. I don't have to worry about it. But name. So guys, some basic validations. Type will be string. And guys, yesterday I showed you the document, right? You can also go and check out all the different types that are available. I showed you all the documents, right, everyone? So, okay, let me just give you the link of that document. Wait, let me open it in the browser. Hopefully, I'll get it easily, that same link. Yeah. So, guys, I'm giving you the link. You can also go ahead and, learn more about the links and everything. So, I'm giving that link in the chat. This is the place where how to work with Mongoose is mentioned. And I have already shown you almost everything. But again, if you want to know more, if you want to see how many types are there, you can go to this particular link. Okay. I'm pinning it in the chat. Wait, let me just pin it in the chat quickly. Okay, done. So guys, I've pinned in the chat. You can go to that link and read about more types there. Okay, let's go now. Type string and just a simple required validation will be fine for this. And guys, you can do many things here. So required true. And a message that if some error happens. Now guys, see, yesterday I showed you how to do validation. I'm doing it here just because you also should get a habit that you have to do validation. If I don't do it, you'll also think, okay, why it is needed. So I'm doing it so that you also get a habit. So name is mandatory. Okay, I'm gonna only have 3-4 properties, guys, not more. So then I'm gonna have a price which will be of type number. Guys, for all the other types, please go and check in there. Type number. This is also required. I can actually copy the same line from here, right? Why to write it again? So copy this whole line here. And require true. And I'm going to simply say price is mandatory. And guys, if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. And guys, please, if you're enjoying, like the video. That will just motivate me a little bit. And guys, till the time I'm doing validation, okay. Also, we can mention that minimum price should be at least 50. That I want it. Like, okay. Minimum should be 10 or 1. It should not be 0. That's why. Minimum 1. Okay, so that no one enters 0 as my price. Okay, so one validation there as well. And guys, if you want to put message, you know, right? Put it in an array. And second value can be a message. But not right now. That's fine. Just for handling the error. Then we can have a quantity. Which will be again of type number. So in Google Forms or any other, there will be schema. In Google Forms, internally they might be having, because when you Google Form is just a front end, right? When you submit, it might also be going to some API. So yeah, they also have validation. But on Google Forms, they have front end validation. written in JavaScript. When that data goes to a database or to an API, then this validation works. See, this validation only will work if the data comes from front end till here. Now, some people also have validation on the front end, then in the API, then in the schema, then in the database. So you might have 3 to 4 levels of validation. Sir, so one small request in React teaches functional based components because class based components quite hard. Actually, both are easy, but yes, don't worry, Akhilesh. I have planned for functional based only because as of now it is getting used more than class based components. So yeah. So understand, guys, this is just one place of validation. Only when the data reaches in the API and the API is trying to insert in database, then only this validation will work. But you don't know from where the data is coming from. That data might be coming from front end. There might be some kind of validation. We don't know. There can be multiple levels. Okay. So quantity type number, and that should be it, guys. Okay, let me just do it. One simple validation as well. Quantity. Okay, and one last property, guys. One last property, which is gonna be category. And guys, for category, I'm gonna use enums. Okay. So category, because I want only 3 categories in my company. Okay. So type will be string, and validation is enum. That means there are fixed set of values. So it will be either clothing or electronics or household. That's it. Okay, that's it. And guys, one more thing. To create the extra 2 columns every time, to create extra 2 properties, created at and updated at, to keep track of when the record was created and when it was updated. One more parameter, which is what, guys? Yesterday we learned timestamps true. That's all. Correct? And that's it, guys. Second task done. Schema done. Okay, now the third thing, which will generate a relation between your schema, your Node.js program, and your collection. And that object will be also used as a reference for that collection so that you can work on that collection. That is model object. So model creation. Call it whatever you want. So I'm going to call it as product model equals mongoose dot model, and then in this you pass 2 things. The collection that you want to connect to, I want to connect to products collection. This is the name. So products, and the schema that you want to follow, which is product schema. Done, guys. Right? The 3 basic stuff is done. Everyone, are we clear with this? Now only the operations are left. Right, guys? Shall we move ahead then? Shall we move ahead and then start doing the operation, guys? Let's go. Okay. Guys, we are almost done with our first API, fully functional, connected to a real database and doing everything. And I don't know why there is an ad appearing on my video. So yeah, now it's gone. Cool. Okay. So guys, the first thing that I want is a get post request. Okay. So see, again, guys, read the endpoint carefully. Our endpoint is, you should send a request on /products and the method should be post. Good enough? So /products, method should be post, and it should have some body data. So let's send it, guys. Name Samsung M51. Okay. Now, guys, listen, please look into it carefully, how I'm doing it, how I'm testing it at every point. Price, let's say 2300, 23,000, doesn't matter. What else we have? Quantity. Quantity 67, and last one is category. So category electronics. Now, guys, as I told you, whenever you are sending a request and you're sending body data in JSON format, it's very important to send a header mentioning which type of data you're sending. See, because you're using a testing client, you don't have to. I hope you remember our API calling, right? When I taught you using JavaScript, right? Here in testing client, if you just mention your data in JSON format, it internally sends that header. But in reality, when you're sending a request via code, via front-end application, you also have to mention a header so that the server understands which kind of data it is. Here also it is internally sent. That's why you don't have to send. But just to create a good habit, according to me, just to create a good habit, do one thing. Always go in the header section, and if you're sending body data in JSON format, even though the testing client internally sends it, you also mention it. Content type application/JSON. It will build a good habit so that you won't forget anytime. Always do it. I always do it, guys. So in my body request body, I'm sending this data in JSON format. Internally the header is going, but I want to mention it so that I have a good habit. So content type my JSON. That's it. Okay, and request is ready. And now, guys, that request should come to this endpoint. Correct? My body should be printed. Let's see if we are getting it. Send. And guys, see, first of all, you got the response that you wanted. Post working. That means this endpoint is working. And also you got the body data. Correct, everyone? Now what is our job, everyone? Just to insert this data into database. Correct, guys? And yesterday we learned, right? We can use the model to insert this data into database. Shall we do it, everyone? So what is the model object name? Product model. Product model. The function was what, guys? Create. Remember that, guys? Create. And inside that, you pass the object, which is this object, which is stored in this request.body. Just take it and pass it there. That's all. So model, please create this data for me. Or if you don't want to, use it directly here because it might not look good, you can store it in a variable. Like only if you want to, follow some really good standards. So request, store that object in request.body into this variable and then pass that variable here. It looks much more cleaner, right? The code. That's it. Then, sir, in real time, if we are doing e-commerce site, whether we have create each and every product by ourselves? No. No. Yeah, technically yes and no both. You have a API, but in that API there is a functionality which inserts data in bulk, like 1000 to 2000 data at once. But you still need this endpoint because what if initially you might insert data in bulk, like 10,000 products, but now a new product is arrived and you only want to insert one product. Then yeah, you need an endpoint. So yes, sometimes it is inserted in bulk, Akhilesh, and sometimes it's also inserted one by one, depending on the needs. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Right, guys, this is how you do it, right? I hope you have not forgotten MongoDB operations in Node.js. Model.create was the function, right, guys? Let me open that window for you actually, so that we'll have a reference. I'm opening that window so that we'll have a reference. DB work. So guys, remember this or not, everyone? All these operations, remember this. User model.create and then passing the object there, whatever object you have. Now we have product. So we are doing product model.create and passing the product object. And it returns a promise. Correct, everyone? So let's handle it. Guys, you got the idea or not? Please tell me, everyone. And let me create few spaces so that you can see only one endpoint at one time. Just one. Okay. So now dot then handle it. Now guys, you can also do it here, but just don't want to make it the line too big. So dot then, and we know whenever we perform the create functionality, it returns the newly created data with all its properties back. Yeah, little extra class, only for 10 minutes. All will be done. Okay. So guys, here we get the newly created record. So let's call it as doc, because in here in MongoDB, records are called as documents, right? So that's why let's call it document. Again, guys, you can call it anything. So you're inserting this product, the product is inserted, and you get back the whole thing with the newly created ID, the timestamps, and all that stuff. So now we'll send a response. Okay. So response will be the newly created document. So response.send this new document. And you can also send a message. So what you can do is, you can create an object here, okay, and pass a property called as data, in which you will pass document, like this. So document is going in my data property, and one message as well. Message product created. And if it doesn't happen, if there's some error, if there is some issue in creation. In that case, guys, what we need to do is log a error for the developers to understand what's going on, but for the user, send a response. Response.send message some problem, that's all. And now no longer we need this response. That's it, guys. Look at this endpoint, guys. That's it. This is the URL, this is the method. This request will be sent. This data will come in request.body. Then we use the product model, which is the object which we use to interact with the collection in the database, dot create this new product. Once it is done, then we get the new document, send the response. Guys, this is our own created object. In the data property, we are sending this document, which we are receiving from database, newly created document. And that's it. No, you can call it anything, guys. Again, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Guys, up to me. Just a property name. Guys, remember, in JavaScript, whenever you're creating object, basic rule, give it whatever name you want, up to you. I'm calling it data because it is data. That's it. Okay, so no, Vasu, it's not constant. Okay. So guys, have we cleared everyone? This is also not constant. It is just a parameter name. Haha. Again. But again, it doesn't make sense, right? So to make sense out of it, call it document, because you're getting the created record back. And in MongoDB, records are called as document. That's why document. And guys, now see, out of all we have learned so far, this is the end game. This is the final product. And let's test it. So if I'm creating this, I should get the same record back with the newly generated ID and timestamp. Guys, 1, 2, 3, go. And see, guys, you sent this data and you got this whole new object back. In data, you have your data with name, price, quantity, category that you sent, but few new things: ID, created at, updated at, version, and also the message, product created. And now you can use it. Guys, if this response is coming in front end, you can use this data for your purpose. You can use this data to display on the page, and you can use this message to display a message, product created, right? And definitely it is there in the database, but let's check. Refresh, and here we go. Cleared, guys. Let's create quickly one more data. Quickly, let's send few more requests. So let's send Levi's t-shirt, 2000, quantity 123, clothing, send. Guys, don't worry, we got it back. It is done. Let's have one more. Something like, let's say, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, what is this spelling of pigeon? Pigeon, mixer, grinder. I have heard of some ad, that's why I'm writing. I don't know if pigeon is a brand or not. I think it's there, right? Maybe. I can't exactly recollect. But hopefully I think it's there. I have heard of it on TV maybe. 200 quantity. This is household. Household. Done. Okay, guys, so all set, all done, everything is fine, all good. And now in database, we should have 3 products. See that, everyone? Understood, guys? Everyone? Done? And now then, shall we move ahead to get request then? Guys, getting all the products back. I hope you remember in your database stuff, we have learnt it. Guys, how do we get all the data back? Fetching data is simply model.find, that's all. Model.find, that's all. It will give you all the data. Let's go. So now, product model dot find. And this again returns a promise. And if it resolves, you get your whole data here. So let me call it as data. Or, guys, the better name would be what? Products. Right? And if we get the products, send this as a response. So response.send, no need of a message, guys. Here, no need of a message. Just send the products. That's all. Because he is not trying to do something. He's simply trying to fetch data. So products, that's all. No message. Products. Send this whole object or array of objects. And if it doesn't happen, then just catch. Guys, you can write the exact same catch, okay? Oh, that's amazing, Akhilesh. Okay, now I can see. Yeah, I got 10 subs. That's great. That's great. Yes, 10 subs. That's great. Thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing, guys. Thank you so much. Means a lot. So, guys, here we go. So, simple logic. Find the data. If we got it, send it back. If there's some issue, log the error for us so that we can read what's going on. And to user, just some problem. And now, guys, let's check it. So, if someone sends the slash products, if someone sends the request on slash products, and it's a get request, then we'll send this one. Shall we, guys? If it is get, remove the body data, remove the header because now we are not inserting data, so remove it. Now we are not creating data. And now send. And guys, here we go. You got an array of objects, and here we go. See that? All good, guys. Get request working, everyone. Understood everything, guys? Please confirm that quickly. Have you guys understood everything or not? Our get request is working completely fine, and you got all the data back just like a real API. Let's quickly go then, and let's create a single one as well. So guys, here we are receiving ID, correct? And based on the ID, we need to find the product. So exact same operation, but here you have to pass the ID. So find, but not everything. If the underscore ID, guys, why underscore ID? Because remember, in MongoDB, it is underscore ID, not ID. It is underscore ID. Okay, don't forget that. So find, or just use find one, guys, because you know, for a single ID, there will be only one product. So find one. So where ID matches my ID coming in request. So request dot params dot ID. That's it. And guys, now you know that there will be only one product. So don't call it products. Again, guys, it's just a variable. You can call it literally whatever you want. Superman, Batman, whatever you want. But let's call it product, which will make much more sense. And that's it, guys. So now what I'm doing, if a request comes on slash products with an ID, and if it's a get request, perform find one where the data ID matches the ID coming in the request, which is this one, and send that. And if there's some issue, some problem, and now test it. So now in here, in our API, guys, and again, guys, one more thing. See, remember, in MongoDB, the ID is written as object ID and then the number and the whatever string is here. While using, you don't use this object ID. It is only for MongoDB. Remember, guys, outside, it comes as a normal string. So just use this much only. Please don't try to use that object ID. Okay? Please don't try to. Object ID is only a representation which is used in MongoDB, just to represent the type. Here you just get that string, the string which is mentioned inside, and just use that. As a developer, just use that. Leave it for MongoDB. So guys, slash products slash ID. So slash, let's say we are trying to find this one, Levi's t-shirt. Use its ID. Copy it from here. Slash ID. Send. And otherwise, you got a single data. You can use any ID and get a single data. Is it clear, guys? Everyone, are we cleared with this or not? It's also working. Now then, shall we work with delete? Guys, shall we work with delete quickly? Let's go. See, now everything is falling into place, right? Now, guys, what was for delete? We had functions like delete one and delete many, right? We have delete one, we have delete many. We know that we will delete only one for one time. So we'll use delete one function. Again, guys, it's not mandatory. If your API wants, if you're developing an API and if your need is to delete many things, use delete many. But in this case, delete one based on ID again. Because in delete function also, where is delete? Yes, we are sending ID. So let's go. Product model dot delete one based on ID. So where underscore ID matches the ID coming in the request. So request dot params dot ID. And if it works fine, then by mistake I broke my laptop and I can't find a new one until I get a job. Oh, that's too bad, Utpal. I'm really sorry for you, buddy. But how did you break your laptop? Okay. Now, guys, here also, you get some info back. We know that. But we don't need that info normally. If you're getting an info, that means it got deleted successfully. So, simple idea. Okay, let me also log the info just to show. Actually, you don't need the info. You can simply send a message. So response dot send. How to delete all? Delete many is the function. Vasu, delete many. Generally, backend learning some boring, but your class make increase interest to learn more. Thank you so much, David Malan. Thank you so much, buddy. Oh, you got seizure while working. I hope you're fine, buddy. I hope you're fine, Utpal. Please get well soon and take care of yourself, buddy. Please, please, please. Okay. So guys, response.send, send a simple message. Now here, because you don't need to send anything. It's deleted, done. You got some info. If you want to use it, use it. If you want to print it, print it. If you want to send it, you can send it back as well. But don't want to send it. For user, just simple message. Message, product, deleted. Otherwise, let's have a catch. And that's it. Is that clear, guys, everyone? Guys, are we cleared with the delete endpoint here? Please tell me. Are we cleared with the delete endpoint here? So someone sends the ID, delete one, where the ID matches my given ID, delete that product. If it is done, product deleted. If it is not done, some problem. Let's test it. Let's try to delete pigeon mixer grinder. So take its ID. It's a delete request. This is the ID. Send. And here we go, guys. Product deleted. That's all. Okay, let's test it in the database. And here we go. Now we only have two products. Samsung M51, Levi's t-shirt. So guys, see how things are so simple. Just after we have understood. So last time we understood the whole MongoDB operations using Node.js. And today we learned all about APIs. And how quickly we are mixing them. And guys, I hope that nothing is going fast or slow. I think everything is at perfect pace and you guys are understanding everything. Please tell me that, guys. Because now then, we are on to the last one, which is the put request. Where we know we'll be having both the ID as well as the data. So data, let's do it like this. Product equals, guys, the data comes in request.body. So let's store it somewhere so that we can have it. Okay. Now then, how do we update, guys? This also we have learned last time only. How do we update? We have a function update one. So our user model dot update one pass the matching criteria. In our case, it will be ID. Here it is name. In our case, it will be ID and the new data which you want to update. So matching criteria and the new data. New data is stored here, which will come through body. ID is coming in parameter. So product model dot update one. Matching criteria is ID. So ID request dot params dot ID, comma new data is your new product which is coming in the body data. That's it. That's all. And now you just need this message. So copy the then and catch exactly same thing. So if it is done, then product updated. That's it, guys. That's all. See how simple it is. So you're getting your body data because it's update, guys. So people will send body data, right? See, now here, let's take this whole data. Where is it? Let's copy this whole data. Okay. And let's edit from here now. What if you have user ID, your ID and Compass ID? We'll definitely use Compass ID. First of all, you should never have two IDs, Drex. Again, you can use any ID, it's fine. But I will always go for Compass ID. I will always go for the auto-generated ID. Is that clear, Drex? Because auto-generated IDs are the main ones. Technically, you should never have two IDs. But if you have it, logically, you can use anything. Practically, anything is fine. But I will always go for Compass ID. So guys, here we go. The data, and it is having so many things. So I don't want all that. So I'm going to remove all that stuff, which we don't need. Only the main things, also not the ID. Because those are auto-generated things. Leave that. So let's say I want to update the name of Levi's t-shirt to Levi's pant. Okay. So this is the update. All the three are same. So guys, please, when you're performing a put, pass everything. Just don't pass the auto-generated columns like ID, created at, updated at. Other than that, pass everything. Just don't pass the auto-generated columns. Other than that, pass everything. Okay. So everything else is same. So it will be updated to same. I have only changed the name to Levi's pant, and that's it. So it's a put request, and get the ID of this product quickly, which will pass here. So get the ID of the product which you want to update, pass here, and that's it. So ID will be this, new data will be this. It's a put request. It will come here. I'm storing the new data which is coming in body. See guys, we are sending in body, right? And again, because we are sending in body, don't forget a header, content type, application/JSON. That's it. Okay, that's all. Content type, application/JSON. Okay, you're sending body data. It will come in request body. You'll get it here in the object. Then update one. ID is whatever I'm passing in parameter. So wherever this ID is there, take that product and pass this new product data as new data. That's it. And you'll get some info. We are not printing it, simply sending a message. And let's see if it is working. Send, and see, you got a message. Product updated. Let's check it out. Initially it was t-shirt. Refresh, and see guys, it is pant. Understood everyone? Guys, so now you have created your complete API which is working with a real database, and you have all the endpoints for update. So endpoint to update, endpoint to delete, create, let me mention everything, endpoint to fetch single data, single product actually, and endpoint to fetch all products, and everything else is fine. And this was a middleware. Let me mention it here. Middleware to read request data in post and put and convert to JS object. So that's what it is doing. I mentioned it here. And that's it guys. Your whole API for a CRUD operation of product is completed with a real-time database. I'm your student from Hyderabad, from Telugu states. Thank you so much, Vasu. Thank you so much, buddy. Means a lot. Thank you so much. So guys, done. Your first ever API is completed. Sir, I extended up to 2.5 hours now, but then also we enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Komalpreet. I extended it because I wanted to complete. I don't want to leave, like, you know, if I leave it on the basics today, see, we have already done a lot of things. We have already done a lot of things. Today, if I leave it on the basics, it will look incomplete. That's why I wanted you guys to, you know, feel excited about it. And now you'll have something to practice. So guys, please, 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 either tonight or tomorrow morning, at least sit for half an hour. I took 2.5 hours because I needed to do a lot of explanation. But for you, I think you will only take half an hour or 45 minutes. Just please dedicatedly sit 1 hour and practice this whole thing, so that tomorrow's session will become much more easier. Trust me guys, if you only practice it for 45 minutes or 1 hour, tomorrow's session will become 90% more easier. Trust me, because tomorrow we'll be creating our own middleware. Tomorrow we'll be doing authentication. Tomorrow we'll be working with JWT tokens. So it's very, very, very important. Okay. So guys, please, 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 please practice all these things. Okay, everyone? Guys? So yep guys, that's it. That's the end of today's session. And I really, really hope that you have understood everything and you've enjoyed everything about this session. So if you have, please don't forget to like this session. If you're new, please subscribe, and I'll give you 1 minute to ask your doubts. If you have any, go ahead, ask your doubts. Until that time, I'll quickly upload it on GitHub, quickly. So that just after the session, you'll get this whole thing back. Okay, so let me just quickly update it on GitHub. Okay, I think I'm also uploading the node modules, but that's fine. Right now, we only have 2 modules, so it's okay. In future, guys, when our node modules get bigger, we have to create a git ignore file. So that node modules is ignored by GitHub or Git. Okay, right now it's fine. It's a very small, we have only 2 small packages, so it's fine. But tomorrow, guys, don't worry. In the next project, I'll also show you how to create a git ignore file and how to avoid uploading node modules on GitHub. But for now, it's fine. I think today is day 6, right, guys? It's day 5 or day 6? Tell me that. Let me just confirm. Why I'm confused? From the morning, I'm confused. Is it day 5 or day 6? 1, 2. Okay, it's day 6. It's day 6. Yes, it's day 6. So git commit day 6 express commit. I'm putting the message and I forgot the hyphen M. Done. And done, guys. The project is available on GitHub now. The link of the GitHub is in the description of the video. Go ahead, take it out. And guys, please don't copy and paste. Practice it. Refer what I'm giving you and please practice it with some new data. I have done it for products. You do it for users. That's how you practice. That's how you practice. Learn for something. Either practice it once and then try something else, or directly try something else if you find it easier. That's how you will develop your skills more. Okay. So yep, guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll be seeing you tomorrow when I teach you how to perform authentication and how to use JWT tokens for authorization and how to also create a really good middleware. Yes, tomorrow all of this, and then after that we have a project coming up. So yeah, after Express is not ended yet. Like Express idea is done, but now tomorrow we'll make this API much more better. It is a very basic API. Tomorrow we'll add authentication, authorization, relations, all that stuff in the API. And then a complete project using all we have learned, so that you'll have the idea of how to actually create an API with authentication, authorization, token-based authorization, all that stuff. And after Node.js, Vasu, it's React, which is mostly starting from December 11th. It will be again a 5-6 days course, almost 2.2 hours or 2.5 hours every day, complete React. And guys, please practice. After practicing API development in the next 1 week that you get, please practice all the JavaScript things that we have learned. Basic JavaScript, map, for each, all that stuff, DOM manipulation, create element and all that stuff. Okay. Thank you, sir. Dedication towards your make work. Thank you so much, Komalpreet. Hope your wish becomes true. It's my wish as well. Not exactly, but fine. If we get more, then again, it will be amazing. I would be able to teach more people. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much. So yep, guys, good night. And Utpal, buddy, take care, please. Show a doctor, see what's happening. Please take care. Okay, Utpal. Can you provide us a course completion certificate? I can, I can try, because see, I don't have any affiliation. I'm doing all of this on myself. So I'm trying to give you all the skills that I have in detail. But yeah, I can plan for it in future. If you guys need it, I can plan for it. Don't worry. I don't have anything like that right now. But yeah, I think I can give a certificate if you guys want it. But I'd see, main thing is skill. Skill is the most valuable thing. Okay. So main aim should be that. But yeah, I'll plan for it. I'll see if I can do something for certifications as well. I'm planning for it. I know sometimes, you guys need it. So yeah, I'll plan for it. Okay. Don't worry, buddy. Okay. Yep. So hopefully in future, I'll be able to provide you guys certificates as well. So yep, guys, that's all. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like the video and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you all tomorrow. Till then, please practice and create as many APIs as you can and put those things in your resume. Okay. Yeah, it will help us, Vasu. I know, buddy. It will help us. So yeah, don't worry. I'll try to provide you guys certificates. Let me see what I can do about certificates, because I don't know the actual rules and regulations of that. So I have to check it once. Okay. So I'll check it and I'll let you know, guys. I'll let you know. Don't worry. Okay. So yep, guys, that's all. Bye-bye, everyone. Good night. See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, Subhashini, Vasu, Utpal, Akhilesh, Komalpreet, Positive, Nand, everyone who joined today. Rishikesh, everyone. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.